we see it sometimes with startups, because we probably see, I don't know, roughly probably 300 to 400 of those a year, and a lot of that time as a pioneer owner like yourself, maybe starting another pharmacy, but a lot of those are just like from scratch startups. And so, and what we've seen is that's kind of an area of focus where they're like, maybe I can offer this to be, like you said, relevant, different, a niche or whatever. So I don't know, do you have any pearls there for like, hey, what's it take to start up a niche and get that niche to even break even?
That's a great question. I think you got to really figure out what you're passionate about.
Right. Okay.
Because you're going to have to work really deeply about it. And a lot of times you got to introduce that, to your customer base. And if you don't have a customer base, how are you going to get the customer base? And because people are going to feed off, what you're passionate about. And so, how you talk to people, like if you want to do these, billable consultations, then, well, that's going to be a foreign concept to people.
Yeah.
Because pharmacists are always free. So,
which we've got to get patients to learn that is not true.
Up,
yeah. Yep.
To deliver on that perceived value. And, I think the hard part that we have is, as a profession, is unfortunately, and probably my colleagues won't like me saying it, but we've cheapened ourselves, over the years, where people, they love us,
right,
but they don't necessarily see the value. And so how do we turn the tables on that? And where are you able to really shine, with your clinical skill set, and how do you want to apply that? Either do you want to do nutrition counseling,
right,
and build a nutrition practice around that? Looking at your area, and see like who's doing what,
right?
And if like out here, it's of course, we're one of the first states to legalize marijuana, and so it was
That's
like,
true.
well, is the pot shop going to be the expert in CBD? The hemp version,
yeah,
or the guy
probably not.
Doesn't know diddly squat.
Probably tell you what the ride's like.
I mean, I was going to say, to
right,
be fair, he's probably got the most experience with it.
Yep.
Right.
But I think looking at the community and saying, okay, where can I really step it up and be the expert, and so the people kind of know us as start to know you for something,
right?
Whatever that is.
Do you find that it's easier to get patients to translate that value from somebody who's already traditionally compounded drugs are more expensive or less covered by insurance? You've got a group of people who are like, all right, $50. I don't like it, but I'll pay it. And then you're like, all right, well, we have the nutrition service and it's whatever. Are those people more apt to embrace the fee for your service as opposed to somebody who pays a $3 copay?
I think it depends on, what they're interested in, as a consumer. Like we all have our things. Like the person that I would least expect to want to invest in, nutritional supplements, sometimes it appears like you think it's the person who's, very tight with their money.
Right.
But yet they believe in that. So they want to deep dive into it, versus other people, they may not be as invested. But certainly I think that the patients that are paying for customized medicine, like they want it tailored to them, well, they're a natural, invested in their own healthcare, and they're not depending upon traditional medicine to dictate what they get. So they are naturally going to pay more, and they want that. They want that customized. They want to feel good about, how they're spending their money. So that's a great customer. But I wouldn't discount the people that are paying a $3 copay and upset because it went from $1 to $3, because some of that is just they want their insurance companies to pay, and they expect them to pay, and it's not necessarily that they can't afford it. It's more of a psychological component.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm probably the perfect example, and this is going to be embarrassing to admit, I suppose.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Like, I'll happily spend $50 on a bottle of bourbon and not even think about it because I see the value in the craft. And a couple of years ago, I went to the doctor and like my vitamin D levels were like 0. Because my wife pesters me about putting sunscreen on when I go out and all that stuff.
Don't blame it on her.
Yeah. We can push that over a little bit. But so
it's not Jess's fault.
So when I went to the store to get vitamin D, what did I do?
But
I bought the absolute cheapest vitamin D possible,
piece
right?
of garbage on the shelf at some place.
Right. But I will not buy a whiskey in a plastic bottle, right? It's just not going to happen.
Everyone's a snob.
Because you're a bougie lush.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's true. Like if you value it, you'll spend the money on it. It's
That's
just
true.
How do you find the people that'll value it?
Yeah. And attract those. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I kind of always tell everybody, like, in a sense, it's probably a bad way of putting it, but everybody's a snob about something. You know, like it could be a car, it could be tools, it can be whatever. And I say snob like a bad connotation.
Was a jab on the
But it could, it really could be. It could be gloves, whatever it is. But you have, and it's building probably that type of pharmacy and messaging and delivery of said service to attract the folks that you're trying to attract.
Yeah, and I think that looking at the healthcare providers in your area, and I'm not spending 2 minutes of my time going to, the large family practice clinic that's churning out hundreds of patients a day. I mean, they're giving people individual attention is just not their business model. And so you got to be wise where you spend your time and looking for. And it used to be like, hey, the independent practitioners, because they're trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to build their own businesses.
And they're like you, right? The kind of thing. And
they're like that. But like independent pharmacies, independent physicians are dwindling.
Yes. Probably at a faster rate, right? Like, it's getting harder for them. And they've had to learn to scale themselves with either nurse practitioners or PAs or whatever to like, I think I've had 3 minutes of FaceTime with a doctor in the past 24 months. You know what I mean?
Okay. So just to kind of go back to y'all talking about, value and Mark saying people are a snob about things. I think being a snob about some of the products you guys are interested in, you research a lot into bourbon and the process and all that stuff. But the problem
That's
with
the nicest way anybody's ever said I drink a lot.
You drink a lot.
You drink a lot. But I mean, with patients, they're not researching their prescriptions. They're only researching the side effects. And so how are you working? I mean, give me one of your patient success stories. How are you convincing the patient the value of this and going, no, you need this supplement to counter with this medication?
The value of what we do is learning how to listen and engage people and talk to them. Mm-hmm. And that's the big benefit that I have that some of like the chain pharmacists don't have. But listening to people and talking to them about what's going on, because a lot of times they'll start sharing information with you. And then when they realize, oh, I have time with you, now I can really talk to you and ask questions that I forgot I had.